It's just talking about practical things that you can actually do with vlogging. Savannah's mom and Savannah actually left today. Savannah's mom went back home, and then Savannah went to Kansas City. That's where she went. She went to Kansas City to go for like a bachelorette party, and she was also taking pictures of. It's like high school friends that are getting married, and basically what that means for me is the apartment went from having like it was like had 4 different people in it and 2 cats to having me and 2 cats, which that's fine. I'm fine with that. The thing that bothers me is the 2 cats. Typically when Savannah leaves, they almost know that they outnumber me, so they try to they're a little more of a handful when Savannah's not here. I just got back from a run, and honestly I was expecting the run this morning to be a lot more difficult, mostly just because I was tired and my knee really wasn't feeling good. And today was a tempo run, and for those of you that don't know what basically a tempo run means, that you're going to be running fast but focused. Like you're running fast but you're still in control, and you're not making yourself prone to injury. And honestly, when I went into it, I fully thought that I was going to not even finish the 7-mile run, but I not only finished it, I actually set a couple of like PRs, or like personal records, which I didn't expect, and that's always a good feeling. And the reason I say all that is because I was reading a book, and in that book it recently talked about the ability or the importance of basically putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, and the benefits or the long-term benefits of that. It's all like theoretical, but basically the long-term benefits are like your brain stays healthy. It activates like the part in your brain where you're like where uncomfortability comes from. It basically, if you can exercise that more, then that's going to benefit you in the long run. And running is nothing but that. Every time I go running, there are very few times when I go running that I actually want to go running. It's mostly just physical and mental discipline. To one, just get out there, and then 2, to like keep going to the set distance that you are supposed to go that day. And that's one thing, honestly, I've said this before, but that's one thing that I really didn't expect to learn to appreciate, and also play such a big role when I started like training for a marathon and everything else. I was trying to think of a way to how to tie in like the next little talking head that I wanted to talk about, and typically I'll try to do that. Like I'll try to like have like some kind of something with some kind of similarity. That way it kind of guides you into the next subject, especially when the subjects are complete opposites. So like example would be, I just finished talking about running, and now I'm going to segue into talking about a video that I didn't expect to do well because of the simplicity, but it actually is doing pretty well. And that's going to be my Insta360 Go 3 long-term review. Like it didn't do anything for the first like 24 hours, and then YouTube just started recommending it, and it started doing really well. And literally the entire video, it's a 14-minute video of a top-down looking at the Insta360 with no cuts whatsoever. I'm just basically just talking to you, like I'm just rattling things off. I didn't have any kind of script. I was just telling you what I liked and what I didn't like about the video, or about the camera, and it's doing well, which is really cool because it was kind of an experiment to see if it works. But now, like that I know it works, I want to like start incorporating that a little bit more in my videos, and especially with reviews. Like I don't really want to have, I'm going to try to get away from scripting things as much, and just having like my initial reactions and my initial thoughts. Like it would be the same as if you were standing right next to me and you asked me my personal opinions, and those were the things that just came to mind. Is that a good segue? There's something about pouring your coffee into like a to-go. It just changes the entire it changes the entire feeling of your morning. It makes me feel like I'm actually going somewhere and being productive, when in all reality I'm literally going to sit down and eat breakfast and stay in here and work all day long. It's all about perspective. Another thing that I'll do with my videos, and it's incredibly effective for a couple of different reasons, is the occasional like zoom in. Basically, when I'm adding a zoom or anything like that that's helping draw your attention or help you, it guides you onto, like, it tells you what to focus on really. And you can do a manual zoom where I'm literally just zooming in to the subject like that, or I can do a zoom after the fact. And honestly, the sequence at the beginning where I was thinking and trying to remember about like where Savannah was actually going, that was a zoom after the fact, but I think it helped convey that like I'm actually like thinking about this. I'm trying to figure out where Savannah actually went, and without the zoom, the shot felt a lot less boring, or it felt a lot more boring. And that's kind of the reasoning behind the zoom. Like, it helps convey a couple of different emotions depending on how I set the scene or set the zoom like before the hand up. And if I'm just talking a lot and I feel like I'm like starting to lose myself, then I'll just add a slow zoom in. Even if the zoom is over like a couple of minutes, that way it helps re-engage you. And also another thing is like when the zoom ends and you go to the next frame, typically it's a nice wide shot. It'll jump from wherever I'm zoomed in at. Typically it's like I'll go from like 100 to 122%. And when you go back to the 100% from the 122%, it definitely catches your attention. Zooms, and they're super easy too. I mean, literally it takes like 2 seconds. Last little practical one that I want to talk about, and this video is basically just talking about practical things that you can actually do with vlogging, and it's mostly like in-camera stuff. It's not anything after the fact, unless you do the zoom thing where it's at the keyframe zoom after the fact. But the last one that I typically do is, it has to do with storytelling. If you notice, whenever I talk about something or I start a subject, I'll start broad and kind of bring you into like what my normal is or what is like typically going on throughout my day, and then I'll kind of slowly narrow in and guide you in to a singular point that I want to talk about. This morning when I started talking about the running was the broad kind of spectrum thing, and I honed in on the being able to have mental discipline and do things that are uncomfortable. Instead of me just going straight into talking about doing things that are uncomfortable, I used the running as a way to help engage you and help also to create some kind of relatability, because I feel like everybody at one point or another has gone for a run, and that's a very universal thing. That's something that everybody can really understand, and it helps make them feel included, even if they've never really talked about or had any idea about the book that I'm reading, or they're like doing things uncomfortable or intentionally doing things uncomfortable. That's an incredibly effective tool, and it just gives context to whatever you're talking about. And this is in any book that you read that's good, any movie that you watch that's any good, any TV show, and YouTube videos are not an exception to that rule. Sometimes when I do these talking heads and I get excited, I forget to breathe. And a lot of times I'll like end the thing where I'm going, whew. That's not intentional. It's because I forget to breathe when I'm talking to you, because I just get so excited about stuff like this. Look at them. They'll sleep for about another hour, and then then I'll have to start dealing with them.